Hey guys, it's Lori with Piece 9 Art, and I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about spin art machines. And you're probably thinking, spin art machines? Aren't those like for either carnivals or little kids? Well, yeah, but still. Spin art machines are a good way to move paint across paper, which makes it a good thing to my mind to have in your arsenal of craft supplies, or painting supplies. Also, these days there are a number of people doing videos online, doing art with great big spin machines. And while I would dearly love to have one of those, A, I don't have the money to buy a big one. B, I don't have the mechanical expertise to build one. My husband does, but that's another story. And C, I don't have any place to put and use a great big spin art machine. But you know what? I do have the space for a little thing like this. See? You can tell it's been used recently. It's still got paint in it. And we'll talk more about that later. The first machine that I got for my daughter several years ago now. She was about 6 or 7 at the time. And when we saw it in the store, I was nodding yes, even before she turned to ask me, "Mommy, can we get this?" I was at least as excited as she was to see it, because I've always been excited about spin art. Got it home and took it apart. And so this is what we discovered. It comes with this splash guard that keeps the paint from going all over the place. The machine itself is sturdy. It holds, it takes the spin well. It's got to be sturdy enough to stay put when it starts spinning. You're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver to unscrew this and put in 2 C batteries, which usually are not going to be included. You're going to have to get those. But you get that all put together, get your batteries in. There's a spot here. Sorry, that's down below where you can see it. There's a spot here for you to put small tubes of paint that come with it. They're going to look about like this, but smaller, and they would fit there, which obviously this one does not. And then there's a handle to carry it and the on-off button right there. It's also going to come with a few bottles of paint and some paper. Let me talk to you first about paper. You're going to get 2 different sizes. Large one, this one is 7-inch. It's a 7-inch octagon. And these are just under 4 inches square. And the first thing you need to do, very first thing you need to do, is take one from each size and find a notebook, sheet of paper, sheet of cardboard, something, and make yourself templates. Because you're going to want to do a whole lot more spin art than what they're giving you paper for. And you don't want to have to buy their little refill kit, because that gets expensive really fast. You want to be able to just go to the craft store and buy cardstock, or break down cereal boxes and cut out pieces of that. And you really don't want to have to try to figure it out from the size of the holder. So make yourself templates, keep them with your spin art machine so that you can find it, so you can find the templates when you're ready to use the machine again. I couldn't find my templates when I started to use the machine again this time, and so I had to figure out the sizes all over again. You don't want to have to do that. It's a pain. So make yourself templates, keep them with your machine. The paint is, well, it's better these days. that first machine that we got, well, first off, we only paid about $7 for it, which is cheap. They're about twice that now. They're about between $15 and $20 now. But we got 3 little bottles, considerably smaller than this, and they had light pink, light blue, and light yellow, which is not real inspiring colors somehow to work with. And they were very thin paints, very watery. And so that also didn't make for real good painting. Now, I think the paper may have been glossy on one side, and that probably helped in terms of the paper, the paint moving across the paper well and staying on the surface as opposed to soaking in. Now, I didn't have any glossy paper to use for this, so I am just going to put on a sheet of just the regular stuff and show you what it's going to look like with this plain paint. And so I'm going to go turn my camera down so that it can see the machine. And okay, so here's the machine ready to go. I'm going to slide in one of the small sheets of paper. And put my splash guard in place. And we're going to get it going. And I no longer have the cute little bottles, so I've started using creamer cups. Started keeping those about the same time that I got the machine for Jessie, and so it worked out really well. So, you know, with this kind of machine and with these paints, you know, you dump in some pink, and you dump in some blue, and you dump in some yellow, maybe right there in the middle, and maybe a little bit more pink, because it kind of got rid of all the pink there, and you let it go for a minute, and then you turn it off. And let's see what we got. And it's basically, you know, your typical spin art picture. Splats of paint. I think this is actually probably a little thicker paint, maybe even than what they originally gave us. This actually came out kind of cute. But it's, you know, we can do better. We can definitely do better. As you're using thicker and heavier paint, you're going to want to cut off the corners of your paper, because I don't know if you could see while it was spinning or once it stopped spinning, it got very quickly to where those corners were tipping down. And the last thing you want is your paper slowing down because it has tipped down so far that it's dragging in the paint that is accumulating in the bottom of your machine. So take a moment, snip off just a little corner. You're not going to miss it, trust me. The corners end up being the least interesting part, usually, of these. You're not going to snip off a whole bunch, just a little bit, just enough to keep it from dragging down in the paint. So let's put another sheet in. And so after Jessica and I had used up pretty much all the paint that they gave us and used up the paper and we were ready to do some more, we went to the store and got some cardstock and started looking around for paint and found these little bottles of craft paint. Hey guys. Okay, so I got interrupted last time and didn't get to finish what I was telling you. I think I stopped at the moment when I was telling you about finding all kinds of cool paints at the craft store, Michael's or Joann's or Hobby Lobby, all good places to find inexpensive craft paint. And when we first got them, Jessica and I pretty much were just doing what we had done before with the other paints, just pouring straight out of the bottle. And discovering that that kind of thing works reasonably well, even though it is considerably thicker. I'm going to stop this. Take a quick look at this nice little spiral that I got. And it's thick enough that it pretty much covered almost the whole thing in one fell swoop. So I'll do a little bit more. Not those. Those are pretty much empty. How about some vanilla and dark blue? That might be an interesting color combination. Let that spin for a minute or two and see how it works. And you're going to see that just because of the thickness of the paints, it's better than the little thin paints that we'd gotten before. But it's still, you know, it doesn't completely cover the paper. And it's better, but it's not quite there yet. We can still do better. So I started thinking, okay, what can I do to I don't know, there's got to be something that I can do with this to make it more interesting. So I started pulling out 2 bottles at a time. So I've got some coral and some wine. So I got real brave and I started pouring 2 bottles at once. And that was interesting. That was better, a little bit. It's still not really quite. It's okay. It's just it's just still not quite there yet. So I just kept thinking about how I could do this. And I remembered I had these creamer cups that I had saved because I knew Jessica liked building with them. And I had this idea that, you know, maybe we could, I don't know, I was going to put plaster of Paris in them and do something like that. But how about we use them for putting paint in? So I put some paint in them, and 2 different colors at the same time. Now, I had never heard the term dirty pour. Had no idea that such a thing even existed. You know, this piece of paper that I just put in has a layer of self-leveling tar gel, which is going to make it nice and shiny, and maybe also kind of slick. But point is, I started doing what I now know is a dirty pour. Putting out 2 colors at the same time. Spinning them right together in the middle, and they make a little tornado almost in the middle. It's kind of fun to watch that part. And I don't know if you can tell, but I didn't put that much paint in the little cup. And I used pretty much all of it. And this is what I got. Tip that up so you can see it as it's stopping. That's just 2 colors. But look at that, isn't that pretty? Like I said, we can definitely do better than the 3 little colors that I'd gotten before. 3 little pastel colors. I'm going to try to get this out without messing it up because it really is pretty. And that's one of the problems with this kind of machine, that it is difficult to get the paper out, especially if it's any thicker than just very light cardstock. It's hard to get it out without messing up your paper. So, I know I've got a couple more sheets in here. And so once I had gotten that idea and said, hey, wow, this works, this is a good thing, I'm going to start pouring more combinations of colors into my little cups. So let's go back to that bright red and dark blue. I mean, it's coming up on 4th of July. How can I not do a little bit more bright red, dark blue, and this vanilla? If I had white, that would be a little better, but vanilla works really well. And I'm almost out, which is why I'm taking the lid off. And putting all 3 together in one dirty pour, and trying to tip it so that it doesn't just pour out all the vanilla right at first, but I think that's exactly what it's going to do. But there comes the blue. And in a minute here we'll get some red out, I think. Can you see how it's spinning the colors together as they come out? It's just so pretty. There we go, got some red. Make sure we got it all the way down to the edges there. Let it spin for a moment. And then stop it. Go ahead and put my paints back in here. Now take a look at that. Isn't that pretty? And isn't that just so much better than the little light colored things that we got before? I'm going to photograph these and put them on the at the end of the video. And so think about getting yourself a spin art machine and giving it a try. It's a lot of fun. And I will be back with more videos and more ideas of what you can do with your spin art machine next time. Thanks. Bye.